What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Zahid. So I'm currently in a very crappy rental. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're gonna go meet up with a fellow S2000 owner who has a really cool build. Super stoked, kind of a deviation from the interior overhaul series. I hope you guys liked the last video that I made. I had a lot of fun making it. I did notice that I left out a couple details that I'm gonna go over later on in this video. But before we do that, we're gonna go check out this very cool S2000 owned by a very cool owner. Whenever you meet someone for the first time, especially if they're doing something nice for you, you never show up empty-handed. So we're gonna grab some coffee, maybe some pastries or something. Thanks again for letting me come to your place and check out your awesome S2000. Introduce yourself for the people.
My name is Jihan. I go by Crazy Korean online. That's pretty much it.
Okay, yeah, crazy is an understatement though. This guy has built some pretty epic cars and he was nice enough to let me see his S2000 in person. So I'm gonna have him walk us around the car a little bit, tell us about the little things that he's done to it, and so we can all just kind of appreciate how epic this thing is. So,
I think the basic stuff is I took a trip to Japan in January of this year, and I actually visited ASM Spoon, like basically, you know, a childhood dream. And then when I went to ASM, I already knew about ASM itself, but was seeing all the parts in person. I knew, like, when I came back, I wanted to redo the whole car. So right then is when I decided to do the wheels, the bumper, the hood. Anything you can think of ASM, I was trying to get it. So these are the ASM clearways. So ASM had BBS make these. They're literally made only for the S2000. If you look closely, it shows clearways, ASM, also shows S2000 engraved on the forged wheels.
that is so freaking cool.
And on the back of the wheels, it shows AP1, AP2. So they made these specifically only for the S2000. Which is like a big thing I really loved about it.
So what about the brakes?
So these are Brembo Pistas. I think they were released not too long ago for the S2000, and I just wanted something kind of, I wouldn't say different, but they are different because I only know one other set, and it's in Canada. And then the rears, I can't remember, I think they're just power stop slotted. Just kind of try to match with the front.
My favorite part of the car, for the most part, I think, is this rear bumper. To me, it's just perfect.
I think it's the ASM 04 Narrow. Don't quote me on it, it could be wrong, but I think it's the 04 Narrow. I really like it because it has the OEM characteristics, but with the cutouts and then the carbon fiber rear, I would say diffuser or cutout in the back, I think it just looks perfect on the car, and it matches with anything. Like, you can put another bumper in the front.
It's so cool. It's kind of like if Honda made like a GT version of the S2000, this is probably the type of stuff they would have, right?
Yeah, I agree. And it's a lot more sturdy too.
Okay, let's talk about this freaking epic wing trunk combo from ASM.
A lot of people don't even know what this is. Everybody thinks it's a Voltex, or people ask or just a wing on top of it. This is the ASM GT09 dry carbon wing and trunk setup. So as you can see, everything is actually built into the center mount wing. So one awesome thing I like about this is because it doesn't mount here or anything, it mounts inside, the wing stand mount inside here, and then it mounts in here.
No
and
holes.
there's zero flex.
No exposed hardware for the most part, except for these.
That's the biggest thing I like too.
This thing looks so clean just to have those, but nothing in the trunk.
Yeah, and what I love about this, because this is the ASM dry carbon duckbill, so it mounts where the third brake light used to be, so you don't see any exposed hardware. Everything sits perfectly and flush, like you can tell, like that's one huge reason why I love ASM itself. Their quality is like unmatched in my opinion.
Yeah, so you did like a pinstriping, right?
Pinstripe,
so
yeah.
to give it more of like an OEM kind of finish from the outside.
Yeah. So ASM released a 330 wheel. I never thought I really want a smaller wheel, but I got the 330 wheel because then I put my 347 in my Civic. And then it has the ASM hub as well, which I'm just a huge fan of. It just looks really nice, and it's like perfect distance for where I'm sitting. The biggest thing is like, I like it because I have big Korean legs. So like getting in and out is so much easier. Yeah, I did a stock shifter. I just rebuilt it. Like what's a kit from LHT?
Yeah, the rebuild kit.
Yeah,
that's the move, honestly.
Yeah.
I've had the Renegade short shifter and the hybrid racing short shifter.
That's funny, I saw your videos.
Yeah.
That made me decide not to even do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool, you know, don't get me wrong, but it's just different, not necessarily better, I think.
Yeah.
And there are trade-offs, and I'm going back to stock, so I think that says a lot.
I really just like have it more comfortable as possible in here.
Yep.
Yeah, these are the Recaro ABEs. I think then, I can always forget what the inserts are, but they're like tweed, plaid, and then the rest of it's leather.
As a Mark 7 GTI owner, I approve.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, like on social media or forums or whatever. They're like, oh, it gives me the GTI vibes.
Let's give them a little teaser of these seats. Very, very nice.
And these are the newer versions too. So the older ones, I think these were silver, but this is more subtle, which I like.
Yeah, me too. So you might not be able to see because it's a little dusty right now, but there is a CR tonneau cover under there. He did do the soft top delete. I mean, easily one of the coolest OEM parts for the S2000. That is such a cool part that came on the CR. Dude, I am literally sweating bullets in this Arizona heat right now. I'm not built for this, okay? I'm from San Francisco, dude.
It's 100 degrees in the garage right now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
100 degrees?
And the humidity is like 20%.
I'm sweating. Okay, let's talk about this supercharger. This thing, it just looks like it belongs in the car, dude. The front mid with all this extra space.
This is a Science Speed Stage 1 kit. They dynoed it. I think it was like about 307 to the wheels. It's honestly a perfect amount of power for this car.
Yep.
I didn't want to go any higher because I didn't want to do a standalone. I didn't want to upgrade the clutch. Like I didn't want to do I didn't want to do any of that. Plus I didn't want to deal with like different emissions and all that. But it fits perfect. It's literally the kit I've always kind of wanted to do. It kind of looks OEM, but it doesn't. But there's people that have driven 50, 60,000 miles on these with no issues. I just didn't want to deal with any type of issues.
Dude, what a huge benefit of being a car guy and not living in California. We met so randomly, right? He ended up seeing my videos around the same time that I came across his Instagram. You know, in the last video, I'm doing modernizing the interior of the S2000. It's supposed to be a 3-part series. Part 2, the plan was to do some sound deadening. So there's a little bit of a spoiler alert if you've been watching the video this long. And this man has already done that to this car. He ripped out the whole interior. It's all on S2KI, and then he did the sound deadening. So I was curious, like, how big of a difference did that make for you in terms of just driving the car around? And is it something that you think is worth it, I guess, first and foremost?
So it's hard to tell how big of a difference because when I did it, I literally did so much at the same time. But I think it's worth it because, like, one thing is when you open and close the door, it's more of a thud sound because I also did sound deadening into the doors itself and on the door panels as well. I think it is worth it. I did the whole floor pan. So when I drive it, I can have a normal conversation even with my exhaust with a test pipe and you can't really hear more road noise. I think it's completely worth it and I'm gonna probably take out the headliner very carefully and I'm gonna do the underside of the hardtop as well.
Okay, well, I'm about to sweat through my shirt. I just want to say thank you so much. I would shake your hand, but my hand's all sweaty. Thank you so much for the tour. You guys got to check out his Instagram. I'll link it in the description.
No, I appreciate coming out and spending time. I like meeting like-minded individuals.
You're the man, dude. I'm lucky here. You're the man. This is epic. Okay, we are back in San Francisco, back in my S2000. And if you guys are wondering what I was doing in Arizona, I was actually there for a friend's baby shower. We made a family trip out of it, and I was lucky enough to be able to meet up with Jihan and see his S2000 in person, which is absolutely beautiful. My video will not do that car justice. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I wanted to go over a couple details for the block punked head unit install that I didn't cover in the initial video, so let's do that right now. First and foremost, I didn't talk about the mic install, so I ended up routing it right to the middle as kind of hidden as possible. I think it doesn't look too much of an eyesore. And I routed the wire, went around there, and it just connects to the area over here. Sorry, you can barely see. Very easy to get to, and definitely a must to kind of tie the whole thing together. Okay, the other thing that I forgot to mention is that you do actually have to trim your radio door. So you can kind of see I cut that part out. And the reason being is if you don't trim that spot, every time you go to close your radio door, you actually end up hitting the main dial and muting the head unit. So keep that in mind. You do have to modify your door in order to be able to close it. The last thing I want to go over regarding the Blaupunkt head unit install is that the DCI that I use to retain my dash controls is no longer available through Modify. Bob at Modify is selling his business, and I don't know if he has a buyer yet, but we can only hope that someone buys his business out so that they can continue to produce the DCI for people who are interested in doing the exact same head unit that I have. If anyone out there does know about an option to retain the dash controls, be sure to comment the solution below for people who are interested. And that about wraps it up for today's video. I hope you guys are excited for part 2 of the interior overhaul. We're gutting the entire interior of my S2000. We're gonna sound deaden everything, including the doors. And we'll see how big of a difference it makes. But either way, I think it's a great way to kind of make the whole car feel more solid, make the acoustics a little better, and ultimately make it feel a little bit more modern. So I hope you guys are excited. Part 3 is gonna be even cooler and even more satisfying. So hope you guys enjoy the content. Peace out. Take care.